Hello ladies and gentlemen, the patrons must be thanked once again. Thanks to Alan, Billy, Blizz, Brett, Caleb, Chen, Christoph, David, Edia, Eric, Gary, Joey, the other Joey, Matthew, Miguel, Mathaldo, Raymond, Rodrigo, Sack Chief, and Z. My Patreon and PlayAsia links are in the description. Thanks for your support. Hopefully you're enjoying Super Smash Bros. Today. Enjoy the video. Hello ladies and gentlemen, this is Blue Maxima, and I'm here checking out Super Life of Pixel. This one took a long while to come out, didn't it? This was supposed to come out something like 3 years ago, wasn't it? It came out back on the PlayStation mobile service as Life of Pixel, way back when that was still relevant, i.e. right after it launched. And then it just kinda like disappeared off the face of the earth, and so did the connection to the damn computer, because that's exactly what it's supposed to do. Let's just fix that up right quick. There we go. So, yeah, the fact that it took this long to come out, it was supposed to come out ages ago, but I don't know, I remember hearing a lot of different reasons why it never actually happened, but oh well. Let's go and have a look around. So we've got a few things that we can do here. We can respawn the collected. Now, this doesn't actually make that much sense until you've played the game, but there are special gems you can get, and also special collectibles. I don't know if the special collectibles respawn when you die, but if you have it on don't respawn here, if you get a special gem, that's it. If you die, you've got it. If you turn it on though, so that it respawns everything, it will respawn it after you die. I've obviously been keeping this off because this game is actually a bit of a pain in the ass. You've also got music and sound effects on and off. Not the worst thing in the world, I suppose, and you got the credits down there. You can also take a look at your stats here. As you can see, I've been playing for about an hour and 15 minutes. I don't need much longer than that, in all honesty, especially considering I've died over 100 times already, and I've seen 32, 74, no, 64, then 96, so yeah, about a quarter of the levels, I suppose. So you can also see what special items you've got. I've got a fair few of them, not all of them, but a fair few of them. So I have a rough idea of how everything in the game works. You can also come here to see all your trophies. No way you saw that. I'm sorry. And you've also got your milestones, which is a little bizarre, where you can see just how far the world has come. It's a little bizarre. It makes sense once you actually play the game. You've also got online leaderboards for level times, but we won't worry about going into them because I don't want to appear incompetent. So let's just go and play Pixel. So you start off with these three machines here, the ZX81, the Atari 2600, and the ZX Spectrum. So every level set in this game is based off an old console. Once you have beaten the ZX Spectrum levels, or to be specific, gotten the double jump shoes, that's when you unlock those 7 platforms there. I don't know what you need to do to unlock the rest, but, well, I haven't really taken the time to dig in, because I've only played a couple of levels from a few of the more popular platforms here, just to have a look and see what it's like, so, you know, I can talk about them, at least a little bit. So we'll head into the Game Boy levels first, because why not? We'll start there. Loading times are actually a bit off. They seem overly long for what the game is. I'm not entirely sure why. Just a little bit. It's not horrible, but they're just a little bit long. Also, you get these little bios here of each console. Seems a bit weird that he doesn't have to use trademarks. And it's also not that polished, because there are a couple of bios that actually go off the screen and you can't actually read them. Since as soon as you press a button, instead of like scrolling the screen, it'll just move you onto the actual level. But whatever, let's actually go, shall we? So yeah, this is Life of Pixel. It is a... well, I don't want to call it simple. It's certainly more complicated than most platformers that have been coming out on the Vita recently, I'll say that much. But at the same time, it's definitely not the most complicated platform out there. But at the same time, it's still got some neat mechanics going for it. So for the most part, what you'll be doing is you'll be moving and you'll be jumping, which is, of course, the D-pad and the X button. You also have access to an action button, But I haven't actually found anything that uses the action button yet, outside of like one thing that I'm not entirely sure if this one thing was even like just your bare bones Easter egg, or if it was like actually trying to be, you know, if there's actually a mechanic related to it. I'll talk about it, but I'm just saying, it doesn't seem like the action button gets used for much in the basic state of things. At least so far. The basic goal of each stage is to get to the end of each level. How do you do that? By collecting all the gems in a level. I just collected some of them there, or most of them, and all of them. All of them. God, I'm dumb today. Once you've collected all of them, the gate opens, and that's when you can go through it. You've also got special gems going on. You saw that I passed one, and you also saw that I have a count of all the special gems in the bottom right corner there. There's a special gem hidden on each level, and as I said before in the options menu, once you pick up a special gem under normal circumstances, you'll keep it, but of course you can always turn on the ability to not. So the idea of this game is pretty much just to go through all the levels, have a bit of a nostalgia trip as you go through, and okay, this is a bizarre looking level, but I'll take it. But yeah, the idea is that you go through all the levels, you collect all the gems, and you try and get to... You just have a little bit of a nostalgia trip playing through all the little different representations of the old consoles. And graphically, the representations are great. Like, sure, there's a couple of things here that have obviously been left out for game purposes. Like, it isn't smeared like someone's body against the windshield of my car when you're talking about the Game Boy screen. But, you know, little things like that are just slightly out of place. But other than that, it's pretty dead on in terms of the graphical stylings of every particular console. And it does a really good job at it at the same time, which is nice. It's a nice little visual treat for 99.9% of it. And we'll just jump straight down in here. Easy done. There we go. I think you can see one of the extra hidden collectibles up there. There are plenty of other hidden collectibles. We already talked about the special gems, so what else is there to talk about? We do have the other hidden collectibles, the specials as they call them in this game. And the other hidden collectibles are actually pretty interesting because they tend to have entire sections of levels reserved specifically for them. And they can be a little bit odd in that sense because you'll end up going into this little part of the level, going through it for like 45 seconds to a minute, and you'll collect the special thing at the end. Well, sometimes you won't. It just, you know, kind of depends on how good you are. Did I miss one? Oh, I'm at 30 out of 30. Cool, I can just go straight into the exit. Yoink. But yeah, sometimes you'll find them. The secrets are really easy to find. They're like little transparent walls that you can just walk right through. In most of the graphical stylings, you can actually see them just fine. I'll tell you what, next time I die, we'll swap out to a, yeah. How about this? We'll swap to a new style so we can get a better look at some of the levels. But yeah, they're like transparent walls. There is one thing that I ran into, which was a cannon, which fired me off into a secret area. And there are all sorts of just like little neat ways to find secrets. Sometimes there'll be teleporters and little things like that. We'll play ZX Spectrum level, because the ZX Spectrum levels in this game are actually really nice looking. They're probably my personal favorites of the bunch. But yeah, you find these little secrets, you'll go through them for about 90 seconds, and then if you make it to the end, which, trust me, a lot of the time you won't, you'll actually get teleported back into the main route, exactly where you were before you went off the secret path. It's a little... Before you went off the beaten path, I should say, not the secret path. It's a little bizarre. Yeah, see what I mean when I say they can't even fill the entire screen? Or they do fill the entire screen? Yeah, it's a little bizarre. So this level is actually going to be a little bit easier than normal, mainly because I have the double jump, which you're not supposed to have at this point in the game, but oh well, I'll take whatever advantage I can get. The game is actually kind of hard early on, mainly because you have a bunch of jumps in the game that need you to literally be running off and then jump. Like, watch this jump. See, I'm literally off the thing and starting my fall before I can jump, and there are multiple jumps in this game that rely on you being able to do this. The game's collision masking is also a bit weird for the player character, mainly because you have a lot less room vertically than you might expect. And by that I mean your head stretches out further than you might think, and the bottom of you stretches out further than you might think. So you might end up in this really annoying position where you find yourself... You might end up in this really annoying position where you find yourself bumping your head against something that you could have sworn that you didn't even touch. It can get kind of frustrating sometimes. But yeah, this is one of the secret areas. There was a collectible, or actually there is a collectible, I just need to actually go and get it. There are collectibles around here. And that was a spike, because goddammit. Yep, right back to the beginning. Right, I'll do the level normally this time. But yeah, you have a lot less vertical room than you might think, and it might actually come back to haunt you in some areas because you just barely missed it, or because you need to very, very specifically time your jump so that you're literally off the edge and falling already. Before I don't need to come this way immediately. Let's go out to the right, because apparently I'm really having trouble making that jump. Let's go to the right here, because we do have to go back up there later, so it's not like it matters. Those spikes are ridiculous too. You need to wait for them to be over halfway in before you can safely pass through them. It's a little annoying. But yeah. The vertical clearance and the horizontal clearance can be a real problem if you're averse to platforming like that. Me personally, I kind of am, and it makes this game a lot more frustrating than I remember. I could have sworn the original Life of Pixel didn't do that, because if it did, I probably would have dropped it a lot faster than I remember doing, which was I ended up cleaning out the entire thing. But at the same time, the majority of the enemies act consistently, so it mainly just devolves into pattern repetition, which some people will like, some people won't. Again, I don't really like it that much. Not helped by the fact that most of the initial levels in this game are based around single screen flip scrolling, so when you walk past the edge, it flips you to the next screen. And it can get kind of frustrating like that, because there are levels where you won't know what's coming until you've already flipped the screen, and there are one or two cases where if you keep holding onto a button and you go through a transition like that, you might end up just going straight over the edge and falling into a spike pit. That is entirely a thing. Notably, they do give you 2 hits inside this game, but it's a bit weird. Like, why would they give you 2 hits? Why not 3? Also, every time you quit the game to go play another set of levels, you have to come all the way back out to here. We're not going to play on the SNES or the Amiga, because their levels are actually really annoying. There is this functionality where if you hit the thing, it'll let you pick up hit a box, it'll let you pick up a bomb on the SNES level. But I haven't figured out how to stop it from just not exploding immediately yet. I'm not entirely sure what the deal is, but whatever. We'll just go play some NES levels. You can also run into this guy and he'll give you a hint or two about what to do around the levels. But yeah, for the most part, it's just really precise moving and jumping. There are a couple of other neat things, like I found something that was probably supposed to be like an Easter egg, which was a drivable C5. At first, I didn't know what the bloody hell the C5 was. And I'm thinking, what the hell is a C5? And then the C5 actually showed up, and I'm like, oh, that's C5. Yeah, the C5 as in the weird little car that Sir Clive Sinclair made up. Yes, that thing. There are probably very few people on this channel who know what I'm talking about when I say that, but if you know your history or if you watch Kim Justice, you'll probably know exactly what I'm talking about there. And admittedly, there are a bunch of like really neat references to retro stuff. Now, I'm not as educated on my retro game consoles as, you know, as I would like to be. I've been meaning to take the, well, consoles and computers, I should say. I've been meaning to take the time to just check out some of the more obscure British and European gaming computers. But I did do a little bit of a binge very recently, in fact. I didn't know Life Pixel was actually going to be out at the time. I just got lucky. But yes, I managed to get lucky enough to play Jet Set Willy. And I took you through a special part of that level. And by that level, I mean that the secret that they made for Jet Set Willy, where it was basically a few levels from Jet Set Willy. What the fuck do I do here? I'm legitimately not sure what I'm supposed to accomplish here. This is not good. Okay, I guess I'm not going that way. And I ran into that, because of course I did. Yeah, I was lucky enough to recognize Jet Set Willy, because, wow, me and my damn timing. That's the third time I've run into a laser beam like that just straight away. Yeah, we're going to go play another level, because I tend to have this annoying tendency to just end up needing to replay levels over and over again if I stay on them for too long. Kind of annoying, because the game is mostly linear at first, since you have to play through at least the ZX Spectrum one, but that means you have to skip these two entirely. It's just weird. But you end up just playing those secret levels for ages and trying to figure out what they were a bloody reference to. I got the Jet Set Willy one right away, but there are a few secret bits that I just haven't gotten my head around yet, so it shows I need to go and do my research. The good old BBC Micro. The computer that the original Elite was coded on, I believe. What else do I have to talk about? The soundtrack is weird. And yes, there is a secret area there. I know it's there. I'm not going near it. The secret areas in these games are brutal. But yes, the soundtrack in this game is a little bizarre. Mainly because it doesn't sound right, at least at first. Like, I can kind of understand why. Like, the original computers that these games were based that this game was based on, right, had no sound whatsoever except for like BPPC speakers. So they would have been impossible to do even remotely pleasantly soundtracks for. So the guy who made this would have done the thing where he makes a simple chiptune soundtrack that kind of sort of sounds like it, but not really. Sounds way too futuristic. When you get up to the point where the consoles did actually start to have full-on, like, when they were capable of doing soundtracks, they do start to sound right. Especially when you get into, like, the Commodore 64, the SNES, and the Amiga eras. They sound absolutely right, but it's just a bit strange when you load into these levels for these computers that had basically nothing in the way of sound capability, somehow having these weird soundtracks. Goddamn spikes! Alright, let's give that another shot. But yeah, it sounds weird when you run into these soundtracks that are from these computers that would have had nothing close to them, especially when he spends so much time trying to stay so close to the original graphical designs of them. It's just bizarre. It's a nitpick, but it's one that I think is well deserved. Well, not so much well deserved, but you know, like notable considering how closely stuck to the original graphical capabilities. This game really isn't forgiving on the platforming, I'm telling you that much. Alright, we'll go back and we'll swap to the Commodore 64, I think, just for the purpose of demonstration. There are also a couple of other minor things going on, like there are weird slopes that you can just walk straight up for some reason in very minimal areas, and I'm not entirely sure why. Not exactly something these computers would have been good at, but you know, I haven't played all of them. Someone might have figured out smooth slopes. And, well, that's pretty much it, really. We'll play on some Commodore 64. See if I can get a level or two done of this. But yeah, with all that said, it's not bad. It is certainly hard and relatively minimalistic. I don't think that it strays too far from the original formula to annoy people, especially people who like the first game. All the different stuff that shows up, like the rideable vehicles and the teleporters and stuff, it's all stuff that doesn't really get in the way of things. Not too much anyway. And the game is still relatively responsive. I'm willing to bet there's a secret through here. Yep, secret teleporter. Should have known. Oh, it's a cannon. Yeah, I don't think the, yeah, there's one of the hidden collectibles for ya. I'm willing to bet this is a reference to some kind of C64 game that I just don't know, but, well, there you go. See what I mean when I say you do your secret area, then it just puts you back on the main road? But yeah, as I was saying, it's not a bad game. The minimalism still works for it. The graphical styling is spot on, and it's very hard. Actually, it might be a little bit too hard. They could do with a little bit of that, literally having to walk off an edge in order to make a jump sort of thing, especially early on when you don't have the double jump. But it's still pretty good. Still relatively representative of the old platforms. And it's got the difficulty to... oh shit. Yep, that's the water for you. Let's give that another try. And immediately fall into the spikes, because that's exactly what I do. Me and my luck. And yeah, it maintains a high difficulty throughout. It does not get easier. You will have to spend multiple attempts on every level because of, you know, some things that are kind of bullshit, like not being able to see what the threat is until you've already gone straight into the waiting more of the thing that wants to kill you. But otherwise, it's pretty good at what it does, which is be basically just a gigantic nostalgia retro trip for people who liked how these games looked in the past. In fact, the majority of the consoles in this game are literally older than me, and I'm still enjoying it. Then again, I've been able to enjoy old games relatively decently, although the difficulty has kind of bitten me in the ass more than once. I've been playing a game recently called Midnight Resistance, which is an old ZX Spectrum title, and it is wiping the floor with me so badly. Yeah, let's just call that one a wash and we'll go play one more set of levels. We'll go see if I can figure out what the SNES level is all about. Let's go and play the SNES. But yeah, the old Midnight Resistance game has been beating my ass so hard because, good lord, that game gives you 5 hits and that's it, and you can take 5 hits in the first 2 fights. You know, server walls can be destroyed with bombs, I know that. But when I hit this... Okay, that's bizarre. Okay, so you have to actually get up and get the bomb before it actually falls. Otherwise it won't actually let you carry it. There spikes! It's always the damn spikes. Alright, let's give that another shot. The game is available now on the United States PlayStation Store. I don't know if it's available in Europe as of this recording. Let's not make the same mistake twice. Yeah, I don't know if it's available. Oh. You drop it right where you stand. So I'm going to have to go back, but I'm not going to be able to because of... Well, I could make it, but now that I've lost a health, there's no point. Might as well just drop straight down. But yeah, with the... What's the word I'm looking for? With the fancy retro aesthetics that do a really good job in replicating or mimicking the old styles without being, you know, too on the nose about them. With the nice secrets that make reference to the older titles. And the general just, you know... God, I can never remember the damn word when I want to use it. What is it? The word that means that it lives up to the difficulty standards of the old games. Yeah, it certainly does that, although some of it's a bit bullshit, but that's kind of the point. Well, I lived. I'm just gonna have to wait for those to respawn, though. Anytime now, we're on the clock. You. With the authentic difficulty, we'll go with authentic. With the authentic difficulty, the nice references, the good job done with referencing the graphical styles of everything involved, and just the general solidness of the platforming, although it's arguable that it's particularly fair, it's still authentic in that sense, and god damn spikes, shit. Alright, yeah, I'm done. We're not doing this anymore. With the authentic difficulty, the nice references, and the general good look, and just the general solid gameplay, it's worth a try. It's only $10, which isn't much, but, you know, it might be a little bit much for some people, but you do get a fair amount of content out of it. There's 100-something levels in here, and they will take you a fair amount of effort, and, you know, you can also go on the time attack if you like, so it's not like the game's got nothing to it. It's not like the PlayStation Mobile one where you can finish it in under an hour, but yeah, it's decent. I don't mind it, and if you're looking for a solid retro-gasmy platformer, this will probably do the trick. This has been Blue Maxima, and I will see you all next time.